He's not coming with us.
Well, then I'm not going.
Yes, you are.
What?
Yeah, what's going on, fam? It's your man, VACAY-JAY, and yes, I'm back with another video. This is for Tyler Perry's Ruthless, Season 4, Episode 9 recap, and yeah, this one definitely was a crazy one. We see that Lacey is being prepared for those babies, and Ruth gets into it with Lewis, and we find out that there's another senator's son. Wow, yeah, we're definitely going to break this down. So the name of this episode is called Wicked Intentions, and it reads, Aaron makes a desperate attempt to bribe the highest. Joan tries to keep Zane out of trouble. Ruth catches George in a compromising position, and the FBI decides to pay the Raku a visit. Oh, yeah, and we find out a whole lot about, Desiree. So where do we leave off? We left off where Aaron got caught by the highest, trying to get Laura out of the food trailer. And yeah, he's really trying hard to get her out of there, but she doesn't want to go. You know, the highest is like, well, what did you say when he said you want to leave? She's like, I need to eat and I want to stay. And Aaron is trying his hardest to really get out of there. He's begging and pleading and all of this and that. And the highest says to Laura, oh, this is what you told me about. You told me about him begging and pleading and all of this and that and how unattractive it was, and how he definitely is trying to get his way all the time and everything else like that. And Aaron is just like, listen, I need to get her out of here. We just want to go. You know, I know you gave her some type of products. You know, it's messing with her mind. And he's looking at her like, yo, we need to leave. And she's like, I don't want to leave. You know, I told you about, him, your highest, about he's, trying to do this and trying to do that. And basically, she is throwing Aaron under the bus. Like, what type of wife is that for real, that you just throw your husband under the bus because you want to be part of the Raku? And he's really trying. He really is showing his love for her. Really, he wants to get her out of there, get her safe. But the highest is like, listen, she doesn't want to go, so she's not going to go. You can leave, but, she doesn't want to go. And he's begging and pleading really like on his knees. And the highest is really playing him like, yo, this is definitely unattractive. So he's like, what do I have to do to get you to get us to leave? Right? He's like, she doesn't want to go. And the highest is staying real cool and calm. And he's like, listen, Aaron is like, I got money and I got stocks and I got this and that. And he's like, oh, you trying to insult us? You think we're poor? So the highest is like, oh, that's what you're trying to do. You think we live this way because we're poor. He said, you know what? I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you. So he blows his little magical powder on Aaron, and Aaron falls out on the ground, right? Boom, he's out of here, right? So you already know he's definitely not leaving anytime soon whenever they get the powder on him, right? So he calls the guards to get him and tells them to put Aaron in the freezer. So that's where Aaron is going. So he bends over to see how, Laura's doing. Are you okay? She's like, I'm fine, and all of this and that. And it's really pathetic. It's really terrible what's going on. So Elder Mother Martha comes in and he's like, listen, feed her and clean up this mess. And he's like, listen, make sure you don't get it near your nose because you're going to fall out just like him. So this is a crazy scenario. Of course, Laura wants to go with the highest. He's like, no, eat your food. It'll be all right. You'll be fine. And he leaves out, right? Like, she is so enamored with the highest, because he's being real nice to her. And of course, she is on that stuff, right? So the highest leaves out the back. And Laura is talking to Elder Mother Marvin, talking about, oh, he's so amazing. And Elder Mother Marvin's like, yes, we know. Yes, he is amazing. She's like, I want to stay here forever. And she's like, after I get you the food, you're going to definitely double down on that. She's like, you're so beautiful and all of this and that. And, again, she is so high as a kite right now. She doesn't know anything that's going on. She's kind of aware, but she really doesn't. But Elder Mother Marva calls her beautiful and makes her feel good and all this and that. So here we are with the highest. He goes outside. He's talking to Daikon, and Daikon's like, hey, the money's all counted and everything else like that. But he wants to get a safe. And he's like, oh, you don't trust, the Raku? He's like, nah, I just don't trust our people here. Maybe the FBI may storm in, there may be a fire, and I don't trust anybody around here who may try to take the money. So the highest is like, okay, no problem. In the morning, go and get the safe. And then he tells him about, Aaron and how Aaron took care of everything and how he went through with everything. He's like, see, he's definitely down with us, and he's like, you can't see that. And Daikon still has his doubts about Aaron. He's like, listen, man, he's definitely down with us, man. I know the law, and what he has done, he has brought us protection, right? So he's like, listen, get a guard around the house, make sure the guards are around the house. We'll be fine. He's like, I'm going to check on Malcolm, right? I'm going to check on our guinea pig, right? Because he's testing out the product to make sure that the product is good so the highest can take it. So Daikon tells the guard, listen, go around the perimeter of the house. We got a guard in front of the house. Make sure everything's secure. So here we go with Zane and your boy River. And River's talking to Zane, and Zane is like, listen, I need to take her some food. Take who? Lacy some food. And he's like, you don't want to do that. It's dangerous. It's dinner time. They're going to want you to prepare the food and everything else like that. She's like, I know. And she's like, but I got to help her out. Zane is so adamant about really helping out Lacy and making sure she's straight. So she just runs off and, River's like, no, don't do it. So Jonah's like, where's she going? Oh, to take care of Lacy. So they're asking questions and talking back and forth about the money. They're also talking about the children and how, Ruth is looking for the children. And River's like, listen, you need to watch after Zane. And Jonah's like, I'm not her keeper. Like, who are you asking me, to do this and that, right? So River doesn't know where exactly they can put the money, right? So he said he's going to get the highest high, and yeah, he's going to find out. They mentioned Lilo, and like, Lilo's a low life. The cartel's not going to be coming in anytime soon. So here we go with the highest. He seems to be in a good mood. He's walking about. He goes back to his trailer, and he's talking to Manny. He's like, hey, Manny, I'm in a good mood, I think it's time for us to have that conversation about the Enlightenment. And Manny's like, oh, really? And Manny knows about the Enlightenment now. So he's like, really? He's like, yeah, come inside my trailer so we can talk about the Enlightenment. So now it's time for Manny to get what he asked for, right? So here we go with Lewis and George, and they are overlooking in the pavilion, looking at Manny go inside with the highest. Like, oh, here we go. He's about to get enlightened. We're going to see what happens, right? So these guys are scheming and scamming. My question is, why are they not on their posts? What is going on that they can hang out like that? So here we go with River. And River rolls up. He's like, hey, Lewis, what's going on? He's like, hey, what's going on? Whatever. And, the River's like, what's going on? He's like, every time you come over to me, you always want something from me, right? He's like, yeah, but I wanted to talk to George. I wanted to commend George because the highest was really impressed by you stepping up, for Daikon and everything else like that. It's really hard to get the highest to be impressed. Lewis is implying to him like, not really. Lewis is a real smart ass, right? He's like, yo, it seems like if anybody does anything for the highest, it's really not that hard to impress the highest. So River asked Lewis, hey, do you have something to say? And Lewis is like, man, I always wonder, what are you guys doing there? Oh, I hear all this moaning and groaning and all this and that. And River's like, listen, we practice karate. And he's like, oh, that's what they call it now? Lewis is funny. So River asks, where did they take Aaron? And Lewis is like, well, we took him where we're supposed to take him, right? If you want to know, go ask the highest. He's like, you got any more questions? He's like, yeah, where are the children? He's like, well, we don't know. We have no idea. So, George is trying to just get him out of there and say, hey, listen, we should all stand together. We protect the highest and everything else like that. But, of course, both of these guys are just like, nah, we can't trust this guy because, he's down with the highest and we need to find somebody else, again, for their scheming and scamming, little scam to get a little bit of money from the trailer. They have no idea that there's over $2 million in that trailer. All right, here we go with the conversation. And it starts off with the highest saying, "Is that so?" So that leads me to believe that Manny was stating that he wanted Zane to be his wife. He's like, "That's real special." And he asks him a couple more questions, and he says, "You know what? You are cleansed," right? And Manny's like, "Okay, great, like, all right." But he's like, the ritual will happen. So Manny starts asking questions like, "Well, what does that entail? Like, what is that about?" Because he knows what it's about, but he wants the highest to tell him. And the highest is like, "You question me?" He's like, "No, no, no. I just wanted to know," and everything else like that. And the highest is like, "You know what? I don't think you're qualified for this. You're not ready. You're not ready to be cleansed." He's like, "No, your highest. No, no, I am. I am." Manny just wanted the highest to tell him, "Listen, I'm a butt plug you," but the highest is not going to tell him that. She's like, "You know what? You're not ready. Get out of here. Get out of my sight." Right? So he kicks him out, and the highest is like, "What the heck?" Like, he's kind of like, why is he asking so many questions? How would he know to ask any questions about any cleansing or any enlightenment? So the highest is going to try to figure that out. So yeah, Manny comes out. Lewis and George are watching, and they're like, "No way he got butt plugged that fast," So, man, this is crazy. These guys, again, scheming, scamming. And again, they're trying to plot on getting that money out of the trailer. Meanwhile, we see your girl, Ruth, in the background, listening, observing to what is going on. Who do we see walking by? That's right. Bridget walks by and looks directly at your boy, Lewis. Hold up. What's going on here? So Lewis is like, "Listen, man, duty calls, man. I got to go." She gave him that look like, yeah, it's that time. Ruth is still observing, watching everything that's going on. And George is like, "Listen, man, don't get caught, man." He's like, "Yo, when have I ever gotten caught?" It's obvious that, yeah, Bridget and Lewis about to get it on for real, for real. So, yeah, here we go with Ruth. She's looking and observing and hearing everything and watching and about to follow Lewis to see exactly where he's going. We see River walking up, and he intercepts Ruth. Like, "Where you going? Who you following? What's going on?" She's like, "Why you want to know?" She's like, "Listen, we got to be careful. I know you're going to ask about the children." She's like, "That's right, man. That's right. I should have never brought my baby here and all this and that. What was I thinking?" And they're like, "Listen, don't mess this up." And River's like, "You got to be patient." And she's like, "Be patient. You the one that tried to take a little bit of money and run off." He's like, "Yeah, I know, I know." She's like, "Listen, this is going to make me go back to the old Ruth." And River's like, "Yo, you ain't seen, the old Ruth. You haven't been the old Ruth in a long time." And she's like, "You ain't seen nothing yet. I'm about to turn into the old Ruth and be that Ruth from the streets and really get at these cats," right? So Ruth is about to terrorize the Raku to get that money and to get her daughter. That's the most important thing. Really, getting Callie out of there, getting that money out of there is the most important thing. So Ruth is like, "Listen, watch me do what I do." And he's like, "Yo, don't mess this up for us," and all this and that. And she's like, "Get out of here, F off." You know what I'm saying? "I'm going to do what I got to do." So he's like, "Where you going?" She's like, "Don't follow me," right? So she's going to go and follow Lewis. Here we go with Zane bringing Lacy some food. This is a dangerous situation. Again, this can compromise everything. So she brings her the food. And yeah, Lacy starts to go in and tell Zane exactly Elder Mother Marva's plan. And she is so surprised. She's like, "Yeah, she's gonna try to get me seated every day so I can have 7 babies in several years and all this and that." And Zane is like, "Listen, that's not gonna happen. You're not even gonna be here in 7 days." And she's like, What are you talking about?" "Yeah, we're about to be out of here." She's like, "Don't leave me. Don't leave me." She's like, "Yeah, I'm going to take you with us. We're going to get out of here. Don't worry about it. Where are we going to go?" She's like, "Listen, I can't tell you now." But she's begging, and she's trying to get up out of there, trying to get her released, trying to make sure that she's safe because she does not want to be seated and want to be pounded by all of these men to have a baby, a Raku baby. She does not want that. We don't want that for Lacey as well. So again, she's really upset about what's going on, but she's trying to get this information out of Zane. Zane is like, "Listen, I want to stay." She's like, "No, you need to go. Thank you for bringing me the food, but you got to get out of here before you get caught. If you get caught, this is going to mess up everything." So, Zane is like, "Listen, I'm going to check on you. I'm going to come back," and all of this and that, right? So she leaves her the food there, but sounds like somebody's coming. She's like, go hide, go hide. Who comes in? It's your girl, Joan. And Joan comes in like, what's going on? And she's like, come on out. I know that you're here. So she kind of knows that, yeah, Zane is there hiding. Of course, Lacey's like, who you talking about? What are you talking about? She's trying to play it like, yeah, nobody's there. And Joan is just like, listen, come out now. You wouldn't want Elder Mother Marva to catch you. So come on out right now. And of course, Lacey's looking at Joan like she crazy. And she's like, listen, you got to trust me. And she's like, trust you. You sent people out and they got killed. Like, seriously, why should I trust you? She's like, I learned my lesson. I'm sorry, I learned my lesson now, but you got to trust me now. And, Zane, grab the food and let's get up out of here. Like you're going to get caught and you're going to mess things up, right? So she gets Zane out of there and she tells Lacy, hey, listen, stay strong. Of course, Lacy is mad and pissed off at her. She don't trust Joan. And she's like, F off, Joan, right? Like, F you freaking biatch. Like, forget you. You know what I'm saying? She's still mad at Joan for being a part of her, going with Lilo and all of that, right? So, yeah, Lacy is upset. She's not getting her food. So Zane is being scolded by Joan like, yo, listen, man, you can mess this up for all of us. You know the plan. If you got caught, Elder Mother Marva would ruin everything. So I need you to never go in there again. Don't do that again. She's like, okay. I'm sorry. Right? So here comes Elder Mother Marva like, girl, what are you doing? And Jonah's like, oh, I had her doing errands and all of this and that for me. She's like, well, go prepare the food. So Zane runs off. And she's like, oh, what does she have? What are you doing? What's going on? Oh, I had her, take stuff to Daikon. So she's like, wait a minute, Elder Mother Marva, what's going on? Where are the children? She's like, oh, well, I don't know where the children are. I don't know. I know they took them off in the night with a couple of elder mothers, but I don't know exactly where they're going. She was like, oh, you didn't ask? She's like, no, I didn't ask. I didn't question the Raku. Right? So, they're talking about Zane and the children and everything else like that. And it's like, well, I got to go prepare the food for, Lacy. So she tells her that Lacy is her patient and that she's going to bring a whole new babies into the world. So she's so happy about it all. She's like, okay, I'm going to prepare the food for Lacy. Toodaloo. And she runs off and Joan is just getting all this information. And she basically has saved the day again to make sure that Zane didn't get caught. We see your boy Lewis and Bridget getting it popping in the shed. I mean, your girl got the legs up and the whole nine. This little man is doing his thing, right? So here comes Ruth. Comes through, opens up the door in the shed, closes the door like, I caught y'all asses. I caught y'all. So they're like, oh, I'm sorry. Oh my God. They all thrown off. And Bridget, she got to close your legs, Bridget. Right? And she's like, I see, I caught you. She's like, oh, I'm sorry. Please don't tell the highest, and all this and that. And Ruth is just totally in her power mode right now, right? Like, yo, don't say a word. You are definitely going to get in trouble. And she's like, please don't say anything. The highest is going to mess us up. You know what he did? And she's like, listen, you should have thought about that before you started doing this right here. So Lewis picks up his strap and she's like, what you going to do with that? So she slaps Lewis. She's like, don't you dare ever raise a strap at me unless you're going to use it. I mean, we seeing Ruth at her street level form right now, right? She is definitely going in. And of course, Bridget, she's begging, please don't tell the highest. He's going to make us, get down and get busy in front of everybody in the pavilion like he did the others. And she's like, listen, at this point, I need you to find out some information. I'll need to know, where are the children? She's like, I don't know. I really don't know. I know they took them in the middle of the night, but that's all I know. She's like, well, you got to, after dinner, to get that information and find out for me. And she's like, what? How do I? She's like, I don't care how you find out. You better find out or I'm going to tell the highest. Now get your ass up out of here, right? I mean, she is really using her power right now, right? And Lewis tries to leave and she's like, not you. We got to talk, right? So she's asking him, well, where are the children? He's like, I don't know. I really don't know. So they're going back and forth. And really, he's about to say something. She's like, I don't even want you to look at me. Just look the other way, right? So she's just trying to get this information out of Lewis. He's not trying to give anything up. So he's like, listen, I seen some things too. I know that you seen us, but I seen you go in the Dicon's trailer a couple of times in the middle of the night and all of this and that, so I know things. So if you want to tell on me, guess what? I'm going to tell on you, right? So Lewis is trying to use his little bit of information. And Ruth is like, listen, whatever. I could tell the highest right now and go and tell Dicon that you try to make a pass at me and all of this and that. And at the same time, tell him what you doing here. So you better get that information and let me know where the children are, or I'm going to tell them right now. She's like, you think I'm bluffing? He's like, yeah. And Ruth was like, all right, bet. He's like, wait a minute. I need to tell you that, we think there's 300,000 in the highest trailer. And you know what? Let's make a deal. And she's like, what? You're trying to rob the highest? You're trying to rob the Raku? Guess what? I'm going to really tell the highest now. And he grabs her. She's like, you better get your hands off of me or I'm going to F you up. I was like, oh, shoot, Ruth is gangster. She's like, nah, I'm definitely going to tell the highest. And yeah, you're going to regret everything that you just told me, because now you told me that y'all about to rob the spot. So he's like, dang, like, Lewis, you messed up right there because you told the wrong person. So here we go with Elder Mother Marva bringing in food for Lacy. And Lacey's just, acting like, acting like she's out of it. And she's like, listen, I brought some food. You need your strength because we're going to start the ritual tonight. And Lacey's like, what? She's like, I'm not up to it, She's like, listen, I brought some special candy to kind of ease the pain or whatever. It's probably some like painkillers or whatever. So she's like, no, I'm not ready to do this. I don't want to do this. She's like, listen, like, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. We're going to have the men come in and see you. You don't want to take the candy? She's like, no, I don't want to take it. She's like, all right, that's a lot of pounding that's going to happen. And she's like, well, what if my womb ruptures? She's like, listen, there's going to be 2 other ladies in here and they're going to watch over you. She's like, no, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. And yeah, girl, Elder Mother Marva's like, listen, don't even worry about it. They won't be on your chest. I know you got shot. Your bottom part is ready to go. It's ripe and ready to go. So they won't even see your face. They're just going to come in and pound you. I'm like, this is insane. Elder Mother Marva is sick in the head. Like, seriously, to do all this to Lacy, this is crazy sick, family. Drop your comments below. Let me know your thoughts about all of this. But yes, Elder Mother is moving forward to get Lacy seated. Of course, Lacy's like, I want to die right now. And I feel you, Lacy. Man, this is crazy. So we see Desiree and we see Kyle. And Kyle's like, listen, I've been here all day. I'm crazy horny. And Desiree's like, shh, be quiet. We're on the job. It's like, listen, man, how long are we going to hold this out? That we love each other, that I'm in love and all this and that. So Kyle is in love with Desiree. Man, I had a feeling about that. So yeah, she's like, listen, I booked us a hotel with conjoining rooms. She's like, it's a dump. And Kyle is like, yeah, it's not the first time. Right? So they've been doing it back and forth in the dump for a while now. She's a little freaky right there. You know what I'm saying? So here comes another guy, the same guy. He's like, hey, we got another report and another request from a senator. And he's saying that his son is missing. Now, again, we're thinking that they're talking about Lilo, right? Of course, because Lilo was mentioned earlier in the episode. But no, we're talking about Aaron. Aaron is the son of another senator. This is crazy. It's like, yeah, he tried to call. There's only one cell tower in the area. So he spoke to him, but then the phone hung up. And he's like, yo, are you sure that they went to the Raku campus? It's like, well, they talked about going and he tried to talk them out of it. But his wife talked Aaron into it to go to this camp. It's like, okay, thanks for the information, right? Wow. So Aaron is a son of a senator. That's where all that money comes from. And, Desiree's like, yo, we going in. We going in. That's it. That's all I need, right? And the guy's like, listen, this they may be there. We don't know for sure, but they may be at the campus. So Desiree's like, all right, bet. Thank you for that information. So Kyle's like, you sure you want to go up there? Like, we don't have a warrant. We don't have this. He's like, listen, I'm banking on the senator. Like, basically, if he's saying that his son is there, I'm figuring that he definitely is there. So it's time to round up the folks and let's go and pay a visit to the Raku. So Desiree and Kyle, they load up and they about to make that trip up to the Raku campus, family. Oh, shoot. Let's see what's going to happen. We already know that Aaron is in the freezer right now. Is he going to get out? We shall see in the next episode of Tyler Perry's Ruthless. Man, this is getting intense, family. I'm loving it, family. You guys drop your comments below. Listen, this is about to go down. Let me know your thoughts. Listen, is Desiree going to find out where Aaron is? Like, what's going to happen with Lacy? This is insane, family. What's going to happen with Ruth telling the highest about Lewis and Bridget? Man, this is going to be wild, family. It's heating up. Drop your comments below, family. I appreciate you all for watching. Listen, we had a great time at our Ruthless round table where we had Pierre Johnson and also Lenny Thomas, right? That's George and Daikon. They came by, stopped by, hung out with us for a little bit. Definitely a great surprise. Listen, make sure you tune in to our live and make sure you keep watching all the recaps and all the character breakdowns that we do, family. Absolutely. Listen, if you found me for the first time, definitely hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. I appreciate you all for watching. And until next time, salute.